Hey guys, it's Carolee. I just want to share an extra little mini episode with you every single week because I want you to know that it's possible to do this thing called living your best life and doing the thing that lights you up while being a busy mom. And I want to give you a little bit of a background, behind the scenes look at what's going on in my actual life and how I am doing this, how I'm doing the things that light me up and being a mom at the same time. So I'm going to tell you about what's going on in my life and the lessons that I'm learning. Take a listen. Today I have a magical question for you, and maybe you were asked this in childhood, and I want to ask it to you again because I think it's a question that's really worth exploring, and that is, what is your superpower? Maybe as a child you were asked, what do you wish your superpower could be? And you thought about flying, or you thought about being invisible. I gotta say though, for me, being invisible never really felt like a superpower because I spent a lot of my life, all of my life, feeling really invisible. And it felt like, I don't know, I wish I had a better way to phrase this, but it felt like a disability, not a superpower. It felt like the opposite of a superpower to be invisible. So for some people who wish that they had that, I never really quite understood that. Flying, totally get. All sorts of other superpowers that people wanted. But what I actually want you to take from this prompt of a question is I want you to look at you on the inside. I want you to look at your skills and abilities. And I want you to tell me, after some reflection time, not just like immediately, unless you've already taken time to explore this topic, what is your superpower? And there's a good chance that you have many superpowers because lots of us are, or we often have many things that we are skilled at. But I bet you that if you start looking at some of the ways in which you have particular skills, if you really dig deeply into them, you will see how they can be combined with like a greater vision, and you can find like a way that there's one overarching theme that is your superpower, right? Like, I'm very creative. I have the ability to create something out of nothing. That's something I've been able to do my entire life. I've been sewing since I was like 8 years old. I made myself a skirt by hand in like 5th grade for my first dance. I've been sewing my whole life. I have a degree in sewing and costume design, and I've sewn all sorts of things, but I've also made countless other different kinds of crafts and creations, often with very little training because I can just see the thing and then figure out how to make it. I have this gift of being able to explain really complex topics and then turning them, like being able to explain them to people in a way that makes lots of sense. Like taking an overwhelming idea and turning it into something that's easy to understand, right? And as I look at all these different things, and then the other gift I have is resilience. A lot of people look at me and they look at my story and they look at my life and they're like, oh, so resilient, right? I'm very, very resilient. That's been a clear theme throughout my entire life. Very resilient. But as I look at those 3 different gifts, I start to see that there's an overarching theme that runs throughout them. And that is the theme of really clear vision, really the ability to see what I want, what I'm going for, and to hold that firmly and not let go of it. And people can call it stubbornness and perseverance. There's negative aspects to it and there's positive aspects to it, but it's like, even through creativity, it was like, I know in my mind I can see what I want to make, and then I find a way to make it happen. Like, I just I just make it happen, right? When it comes to resilience, it's like I'm determined to survive this. I'm determined to get back up again no matter what. And it's just like this. You could see that even though those 3 other gifts are almost more tangible, it's really the vision that I have that has kept me going throughout my life and made those other gifts, they're kind of like secondary. They're kind of like part of the grander superpower that I actually do have. Like, I'm a creative visionary. I'm a creative problem solver because I can see that there's more than one way to do something, that there's always a way around the barrier, that there's a way through the cage, if you listen to my last episode, that there's a way to get to the thing that I want in life. And I will keep poking and prodding and looking until I get there. So the purpose of me telling you about my gifts is so that you can start exploring your own. Because once you start to understand what your superpower really is, you start seeing yourself in a whole new light. It's really incredible what happens. Like, you light up from the inside out and you see the impact that you have on other people and the ways in which you can help them and influence them and help them be better, and the way that you are just such a force for good in this world. It's really helpful. And here's something I want you to know. You have a superpower. You are so powerful. You are such a force for good. You have so much of an ability to do incredible things. And you just maybe don't realize how powerful and incredible you are. So take some time to reflect on this question. And if you're seeing some superpowers like making things or working hard, or you have a lot of stamina, or you're a really good parent, or you're really nurturing, I don't know, there's all sorts of incredible gifts you might have. Look into those and appreciate yourself for how amazing those are, but maybe there's an overarching gift that can tie those together as your true superpower, because your superpower is not about working. It's not about being productive, first of all. So like, my ability to be creative is not about how many tote bags I could sew for somebody, right? It has nothing to do with productivity or making money or anything like that. That's a really important point. Your superpower is about spreading light. It's not about money. It's not about hustling. Your value is so much greater than something as trivial as money. Money comes and goes. It flows in and out constantly. I'm sure you've looked at your own bank account and noticed that it is never the same from day to day, right? It just flows in and out. It comes and goes. Money is a resource, just like water. Your value is not tied to it. And your superpower has nothing to do with your productivity or how much money you make with it. Okay? It has to do with your light, your core essence. And the more that you shine that light, first of all, you feel better, but also the whole world becomes more lit up when you shine that light. With me, as I'm coming to see that my superpower is being a visionary, I can see when people are excited by that, but I can also see when they're not ready for it. When I'm casting my big, beautiful vision for my life or their life, and they're like, nope, not taking it, not interested. and it becomes overwhelming for them. Because that's part of being a visionary, is that sometimes it doesn't go the way that I plan, and I have to, pay attention to that. So I just want you to really ponder this question of what's your superpower and how can you best shine your light and know your own worth, because you do have so much worth, so much value. You are so powerful, and I want you to know that. And I hope that by pondering this question, you can start to see that more and more and more throughout your life.